Welcome back, everyone, to another Loki episode breakdown. So, I'm really sorry that this video is probably going to come out late, but yeah, anyway, let's just get started. So, obviously, spoiler alert because big things happen in this episode, so yeah, obviously, we should just get started. So, the title of the episode is called Journey into Mystery. Journey into Mystery is the thing I called my Ninjago series. You can watch that. I'll put a link on the card. Just click the card at the top. And it's also the name of the story where Loki and Thor first appeared in. It's the name of the story where they first appeared in. So obviously, that one is obviously unique. So yeah, and every single name of the episodes has some sort of meaning. This one's called the Nexus event because Sylvie and Loki, they cause a giant Nexus event which caused them to be captured by the TVA. Lamentis is the name of the planet and the timeline that they're on. The variant is supposed to refer to Sylvie, and Glorious Purpose is supposed to refer to Loki's new glorious purpose as the start of the show. So yeah. So anyway, the way how the episode starts is it kind of starts in a weird giant one shot where it leads from the TVA. It leads to everything from the TVA, and then it goes outside the doors to where the timekeepers are, and then it goes outside where Loki was pruned. But it goes upside down, which I think was meant to symbolize how things in the TVA have started to go kind of upside down. So yeah, just keep that in mind. So back with the Lokis, all of them. What ends up happening is Loki's very confused, obviously, because in the last episode, in that post-credit scene, this version of Loki, Richard E. Grant, who's playing classic Loki, he said that if you don't come with us, you're going to die. And what he means by that is there's a giant creature called Goliath that is going to start eating them. Because basically what the TVA does is every time they prune someone, they get automatically sent to this place. And this place is kind of like some sort of graveyard or wasteland where everything just gets eaten in death. Mostly death that happens. Goliath is always referred to as a guard dog, and that makes a lot of sense because Goliath has a dog-like head. So yeah, and by the way, if you don't know, Goliath is this creature, this giant cloud. So yeah, so what he does is he eats people who are about to get pruned so they can get death. They don't actually die when you get pruned. You just get sent to this land, and then you're usually killed by a Goliath, or you survive like these guys have. So yeah. So back at the TVA, Sylvie and Ravonna are trying to. Sylvie wants to figure out who's behind the timekeepers. That is why she didn't prune Ravonna, because she could have done it, but she decided not to. But she wants to know about everything about the timekeepers so she can kill them and take down the TVA. But Ravonna wants to know who the timekeepers are, so she asks Miss Minutes to pull up files on the beginning of time and the end of time and all that stuff, and stuff on the timekeepers. Which, you remember, these were the files that Loki was not allowed to go to in episode 2. In episode 2, he tried to access these files, but he wasn't allowed to. He figured out that he was only allowed to access files on him and the variant. So yeah. So anyway, so they agree that to both find out who's behind the timekeepers, because obviously they're fake, they're androids. Even these statues, it's all a bunch of lies. So it turns out Ravonna is actually playing Sylvie here. She's basically just waiting for the guards to come until she's just waiting for the guards to come, which is why she's just having Miss Minutes take a while to scroll through the files and stuff. And when the guards do come in, she jumps over to some parkour, and then she gets one of those stun batons and she prunes herself, basically. So back on this planet, I have no idea this place. I'm just gonna call it the Prune Land. Back on there, what ends up happening is the Lokis, they walk through. There's a giant ship in between them. I don't remember what the ship looks like, but I cannot compare this to anything. This is like the ship that they used in Guardians of the Galaxy when Peter Quill got abducted by Yondu and everybody else in Volume 2. But yeah, but it doesn't really make sense. So Loki is trying to find his way back to the TVA so he can go back to Sylvie, but because he didn't actually try to get pruned, Ravonna pruned him. So what ended up happening is he is trying to suggest to everybody else that why don't we just create a Nexus event? Well, that's not going to work because apparently creating a Nexus event does nothing, because literally the TVA does not give a dang anything. They don't care what happens at all in this land. So literally, if they try, there's literally no way to escape. The only way to escape is you have to actually just live on this planet for the rest of your life and hide. So yeah. And Kid Loki has to shut him up because he has to use the sword, which he later gives to him later. And this sword is called the Ancestral Blade, I believe. But yeah. So then There's these other versions of Loki. This is classic Loki, but also known as an older version of Loki. The reason why I'm saying it is because number one, he looks old. Number two, he has the same outfit that the comic Loki has, and this version of Loki is a kid Loki, which they might bring him back because he's still alive at the end of the episode. This version of Loki is called Boastful Loki. One difference about him is that he actually has his own version of Mjolnir, which is Thor's hammer. But yeah, because he has lots of he is very boastful and brags a lot. So yeah. So anyway, then as they walk past this, as they go across to this part of the area, they're about to reach it. There's a helicopter, and in the back it says Thanos. This is probably meant to reference that in the comics, there's a storyline where Thanos gets defeated by Spider-Man. There's a storyline where Thanos gets defeated by Spider-Man, and he uses a helicopter to do it. It's really weird, and it's also really dumb because Thanos is way more powerful than that, and he gets arrested by cops. It's really weird, but yeah. So anyway, also in this scene, there's a big version of Yellow Jacket's helmet from in the Ant-Man movie. I don't know how did he get in here, but there might be a reason. If you remember, a Yellow Jacket got sent to the quantum realm by Scott Lang or Ant-Man, whatever. He got sent there, and the quantum realm is similar to kind of the TVA. So the TVA, but here's the catch though: the TVA doesn't actually look at that because technically the quantum realm is like its own thing, so they don't look at that. So that's what's weird. But they might have figured out what he was doing, so they might have taken care of him. So yeah, actually, it's possible that other characters who have been inside the quantum realm, like the Avengers and stuff, might have to deal with Yellow Jacket. It's also possible that Yellow Jacket, when he got sent to the quantum realm, he traveled back in time or went to the future, and then that's when the TVA had to deal with him. So yeah, but his helmet's right here, so that obviously shows that a version of him was probably here somewhere. So anyway, as they make it to this kind of underground thing where this is like an underground bunker where they hide. It's actually pretty nice, but as the camera goes down through the dirt, you see a version of Mjolnir, which is pretty nice, but you also see a version of Frog Thor, which is also known as Throg. This is a version of Thor who is just known as a frog. Loki, I think, turned him into a frog at one point, and he was able to win a giant frog war for them, but I don't know much about that. So anyway, they go inside this giant bunker, and this throne is most likely Kid Loki's throne because number one, there's candy canes everywhere, and that's always used by little kids. And also, there's an L right there standing for Loki, and he's been known to be kind of the leader throughout the entire episode. So yeah, and this version of Loki is the versions of each other. They are talking. They are mostly talking. Kid Loki reveals at some point throughout this episode that the reason why he got pruned and taken by the TVA is because he killed his version of Thor. So obviously he's kind of dangerous, and especially since he has that giant sword. So yeah. But yeah, so they talk for a bit, and eventually what ends up happening is the boastful version of Loki gets a little too lets his ego take over him a little bit because Alligator Loki is sick of it, so he tries to bite off his hand, and it's so bad that all of them have to take off him. Now, eventually, what ends up happening is Loki is kind of sick of it because he thinks that there's a way to kill Goliath because he's like a dog, a shark, because that's what throughout the episode they were kind of comparing him to that. So he believes that there must be a way to kill it. So he goes out and to try to it, only to find other versions of only to find a bunch of versions of Loki who are staring at him. Really weird, but yeah. So obviously, I think this whole conflict between these two is that between President Loki and Richard E. Grant and the other ones and stuff like that. The conflict between them is that I think what it's meant to symbolize is that not all these versions of Loki are truly going to ever get along because their lives are obviously broken and they're all broken, unfortunately. So he makes it inside, and that's where I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to go back to what happened with Sylvie. So Sylvie, she gets out, she wakes up in this car only to realize that Goliath is after her, and she does some parkour, and she's able to enchant a little bit of the creature of Goliath, and only to be able to see this castle, which might have something to do in the next episode, because at the end of the episode, they're able to walk to it. And what ends up happening is she sees Mobius, and basically they get in the car and they go. And in the background, there's also Sphinx, which is in Egypt, I believe. And then she also sees these bridges, which I think are the Golden Gate bridges, I think, or I don't know. If I don't know, just please let me know in the comments and don't make fun of me about it. But yeah. So anyway, so boastful Loki reveals that he actually betrayed them because he wanted to overthrow them. So that's what he planned to do. And basically, this is why they actually decide to ditch him. And basically, before you know, a giant fight breaks out because alligator Loki goes and bites off his hand, and our version is just trying to stay in the back, not do anything because he has nothing to want to do with this conflict. He has other priorities, so that's why. Also, the very cool boss move, Kid Loki or one of them makes an illusion of the other, and they throw alligator Loki onto him. So they're able to make a portal and escape. And when they do, Kid Loki realizes that, we're just going to help this guy so he can get to his goal and kill Goliath. So they said they're going to help him. And Sylvie tells Mobius that we have to try to enchant the creature so he can let us through. Obviously, so they can figure out who's behind the TVA and all the timekeepers and whatever. And by the way, there's only one episode left, so after this they have to wrap up like the entire plot. There's also some footage in the trailers where that hasn't really been fully unlocked yet. Like for example, there's footage in the trailer that we haven't seen in the actual like move in the show itself. So yeah. So obviously they go to face off against Goliath, and while they're there, they also see a ship appear out of nowhere. But all the crew members on the ship realize that they're dead. They're dead, and even though because Goliath is about to kill them, and even though they try to put up a fight, but it's not going to do anything because Goliath still kills them anyway. So back at the TVA, B-15. This is our only scene throughout the entire episode, so I'd rather play it so you can know.
You freed the variant. You were disloyal to the TVA. Disloyal? Did you think you'd escape punishment for that? Disloyal to who? You were in the timekeeper's chambers. They weren't real. And why do you think that changes anything? That changes everything. The people need to know the truth. No, the TVA needs stability. And until we can figure out what's going on, that is what it will get. So you need to tell me everything. What exactly do you want from me? You had a link with the variant. I want you to tell me what drives her. Revenge drives her. Killing the timekeepers. But they turned out to be fake in case you forgot. So she'll be searching for whoever created them. This isn't about protecting the TVA at all, is it? You just want to find whoever's behind all of this shit. You'll never find them. Not before she does. And why is that? You only want it. She needs it.
Okay, so obviously, basically, what she's trying to figure out is last episode. If you don't know, B-15 kind of switched sides because after Sylvia and Loki they got imprisoned, she had B-15 kind of figured out what was going on, so she asked Sylvie to prove it to her. And once she did, she agreed to help them, but it didn't really get her anywhere because in the fight she gets knocked out, and then that's like the last time she's seen. So obviously she got imprisoned for helping the variant, obviously, and everybody else pretty much. And for some reason she wasn't pruned, but she should have been pruned, literally. Like literally she was knocked out in the middle of the fight in last episode. So obviously she should have been pruned, but for some reason they didn't. So very dumb move, but yeah. So B-15, the reason why Ravana just specifically wants to know why, she wants to know more about like the link that they had, because Sylvie is able to enchant people, but she cannot create memories. She has to use the memories that are already there. So basically, that is when B-15 figured out that everything has been a lie, pretty much. So yeah, her whole life has been a lie. So and basically, Ravana, as I said earlier, she just wants to know who's behind the timekeepers, mostly so she can warn them about what's coming, because Sylvie's gonna come them, like kind of let them know that something's bad's about to happen, like a giant crisis. Also, episode 6 is coming in just like a few days, so obviously, they have to wrap up this entire plot somehow. Well, no, they're not really gonna wrap it up, because Loki is gonna have a season 2. So obviously, so they might have, so something's gonna be like weird, because there will be a season 2. So yeah, obviously. So Mobius gets so once they all meet, Sylvie, Loki, Mobius, all of them, they have a Mobius and Richard E. Grant Loki. They have this conversation where after, mostly this is what they say to each other.
I really don't remember him. TVA had arrested a lot of Lokis, but no, I don't remember an alligator. He used to say he's even a Loki variant. He's cleanest. I don't know, he could be lying. The long con, of course, that just makes him more likely to be a Loki. It's always the game within the game with you guys, which I respect.
Mobius, assuming you do get back to the TVA, what exactly are you getting yourself into?
People know the truth. So just like that, you're turning on the very thing you devoted your life to. It's never too late to change.
I hope they know what they're doing.
So basically, what they're trying to say is Richard E. Grant Loki asks him about. This is the only time they mostly interact throughout the episode, so that's why I had to play it. But yeah, so classic Loki asks him, "What are you planning on doing once you get to the TVA?" Just to let people know the truth. But he does reveal his actual motive at the end. But yeah, yeah. But the conversation's mostly on the alligator version of Loki, because they don't really know what truly happened to him, because what's weird is nobody knows his actual Nexus event, because obviously this version of Loki got pruned. Not only was he pruned, but he got not only was he pruned, but he also caused him some sort of Nexus event. So obviously, don't underestimate him. But yeah, because he obviously caused something big, like maybe he killed like a famous person or something, or like somebody like really really important to the timeline. But yeah. So anyway, all of them go to face Eliath, and Kid Loki gives him his sword, just like I said earlier, and Mobius says goodbye to Loki and Sylvie, and basically he reveals that he plans to burn down the TVA to the ground, just like Loki said in that very first episode. So yeah, so classic Loki kind of helps them by creating like a big illusion of his own version of Asgard, and basically what ends up happening is he gets killed by Eliath, so that's unfortunate for him. His last words were "glorious purpose," and Sylvie and Loki are able to enchant the creature after a very long battle. And once it does, the creature turns green, just like the powers of all them Lokis. And they are able to see a portal to the city, and they walk through it. Anyway, that is all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. And if you did, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Please be sure to drop a like and please subscribe to the channel. Also, comment down below. Please tell me what you thought. Also, if you have any other video suggestions, I would be very thankful. Just please send them down in the comments. And here is the video on here is the video, and here's another video. And